Yeah, you right. Thank you so much, Mr. Drew Brees. He's right on the money. It is indeed New Orleans, Louisiana. Corey Johnson back at you. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. 2 big hours coming your way with all the New Orleans-based news, information, entertainment, and the like. New Orleans, Louisiana, the South as a region, the country, the world. Hey, Cameron Gilly, who ran the 100-mile Leadville 100 race in the mountains, a New Orleans guy running up in low oxygen Rocky Mountains. A couple of weekends ago, he ran 100 miles in the mountains. Started at 4 in the morning on a Saturday and finished Sunday morning around 11 a.m. 29 hours of running almost. 28 hours, 53 minutes. 28 hours, 53 minutes, beating his goal of 29 hours by about 6+ minutes. And getting under the 30-hour mark where he got the coveted belt buckle that you've completed this Leadville 100. He was going to join us the entire hour. He's going to be on next Tuesday for the full hour, maybe longer, because I've got a lot of questions. I think it's an incredible feat. It's going to be really interesting and I think pretty inspirational, to be honest with you. Pretty inspirational. Anyway, that's coming your way in a little while. Got a good one lined up for you. Coming up in the 5 o'clock power hour, Steve Nelson with the Sewage and Water Board will join us. There's a $300 million power plant that the Sewage and Water Board has been building. $300 million. Been building this thing for the last year and a half. It's pretty much finished. It's like 99.9% finished, but was supposed to be powered up last month. And then was supposed to be powered up earlier this month. And the delays continue. It should be powering up soon. It's pretty impressive, actually. If you've ever been right at River Road by Oak Street, the Parish line, on River Road, Leake Avenue, New Orleans into Jefferson, Jefferson into New Orleans, you see the huge energy towers, power line towers, where the power lines cross the river from the West Bank. What is that? 9 Mile Point on the West Bank, the power plant there. So literally from the power plant producing the power directly across the river, right down, what is that, Monticello, on huge power towers going into this substation. I'd say it's about, as the bird flies, I mean, at the most 3 miles away, as the bird flies. So almost right next door to the power plant, across the river from the power plant, the Sewage and Water Board's getting a direct link to that power plant, going into this $300 million substation where they're going to divvy up the power, most of it staying what it is, or I shouldn't say most of it, about half of it, at the usual power supply, or what is it, 60 hertz power, the normal amount going out. But some of the antiquated pumps in the Sewage and Water Board system going back 80, 100 years still use this old-timey, olden days, early 1900s, 25 hertz power. So they have to convert it from 60 hertz to 25 hertz and power up these other pumps. They're slowly but surely replacing the 25 hertz pumps with 60 hertz pumps, but that master plan of getting it done completely, decades away, not years away, like decades away. But the power station's already supposed to be up and running. We'll talk to Steve Nelson about that. Hurricane season continues. We'll talk to Steve Nelson about that. And Ghassan Corbin out, new director in. So much going on at the Sewage and Water Board. You can be critical of New Orleans agencies and governmental stuff, and you should be. It's dysfunctional, broken, and pathetic. I mean, I think it's more broken than working, sadly. There's just so much waste, fraud, abuse. It's pathetic. The Sewage and Water Board has major problems. Ghassan Corbin's no longer here. He's back in Milwaukee. I have no connection to him except he was the director at the Sewage and Water Board. What he did in 7 years, if all New Orleans agencies had a guy like him running them and doing the things he did, we'd be a lot farther along or further along, a lot further along. I mean, you can just think about what Ghassan Corbin did in 7 years. Those 2 water towers that you can physically see, those monster water towers put up under his watch to have pressure, water pressure, even when pumps go down. The weight of the water pushing down in those towers will keep water pressure up. Not 1, but 2 towers built. Copper theft, sleeping on the job, workers not there getting checks, all that cleaned out, taken care of. Abuse of the handicap parking spots downtown, taking money for parking and parking illegally, all these gimmicks, all these scams, all of that taken care of, cleared up. I'm not going to tell you, man, it's the most efficient thing ever, but it isn't the old Sewage and Water Board. Smart meters coming online everywhere throughout the city. Tens of thousands of them hooked up, tens of thousands of more coming online, over 100,000. Going to clean 70,000 catch basins now instead of the city. I can go on and on. The $300 million power plant. I mean, it's crazy. Getting turbine 6 online, all of this. Just an honest guy that worked hard, that came to work, was legitimate. A totally dysfunctional, broken New Orleans system. This outsider came in and cleaned it up a lot. What I worry about with the new director, is he going to be like Ghassan Corbin and clean it up a lot? Or is he going to be like, going from the Office of Inspector General when you had the originator, Bob Sarasoli out of Boston, and then a couple of IGs later, you got Do Nothing Denny Harper. This guy was a joke. Worked for the government, had a political agenda, didn't care about being IG, did no work, absentee. I mean, you don't want that. You don't want that, obviously. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see. Corey Johnson with you. No, it's a concern because you don't want to go backwards with the Sewage and Water Board. Mitch Landrieu, I don't think was a bad mayor. I don't think Mitch Landrieu was a lights out great mayor. Helped get the airport built, some other things. I still think a little too political for me. Great example, Cedric Grant running the Sewage and Water Board. This guy is an appointed, anointed political hack that's been around New Orleans politics forever. And for whatever rhyme or reason, you got to put him in the next administration, whoever the next mayor is. You got to have him part of your administration. He's like one of John Ilario's kids. One of John Ilario's kids is a riverboat pilot. The other has bounced around from 4 or 5 statewide committees earning a 6-figure salary. And he's not an expert or an amateur or any kind of knowledge on any of the committees he's a part of. It's just daddy giving his son a plum job to do nothing and earn 6 figures, that kind of gimmick. No, you need professionals. LaToya Cantrell is anything but that. But hiring Ghassan Corbin was a great call. Didn't do the Mitch Landrieu appointed, anointed political hack, Cedric Richmond, who's had 10, 20 different jobs in city government. I've told you the story. Riding on the Lafitte Greenway on my bike, I stopped by that public pool by Claiborne's and the Lafitte Greenway, by the old projects. And on the plaque, it was 1991, Mark Morial administration. Cedric Grant's on that plaque as some, head of do nothingness, something like that. I'm just like, wow, this political anointed appointed hack has a 55-gallon drum of Vaseline at home. Every day dips his head in it and inserts it up whoever the mayor's is, rear end, right up the mayor's butt. No, there's so many of those types. Hundreds in New Orleans, thousands around the state. It's this loop. No matter who's in office, they have a government job, like guaranteed for some whacked reason, for some crazy reason. And they earn a lot of money, pretty much doing absolutely nothing. And it's like a job for life. And I don't get it. Black folks, white folks, all over the state. It's crazy. Male, female, thousands statewide and a few hundred in the city. No, just that's fraud, waste, abuse with an exclamation point. Anyway, Steve Nelson's going to join us from the Sewage and Water Board in the 5 o'clock power hour. Smitty's Supply, that explosion, that fire, the worst part, thank God no one hurt. Not a single person hurt or killed. Amazing. But 450 unemployed right now. Not cool. LIV Golf. It's official, coming to New Orleans. Corey Johnson with you. Yeah, you right. Wide open Wednesday. So much to cover. Stick around. Coming right back.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Yeah, you right. Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Every day this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex. Lamarck Ford, Lamarck Lincoln, over there in Kennebra. I-10 and Williams, the car corner, right on the corner, right on the price. And if you own a business, you need a commercial SUV, van, or truck, any size, including the big boys, you know where. Lamar Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway, right before the S-curve. Jefferson Highway at Horde, right before Hickory. Convenient, right off River Road. You know, I'm like at the end of Oak Street, like by the Sewage and Water Board, the Carrollton, River Bend, Pigeon Town neighborhood near Holly Grove. I can get from River Road, from my neighborhood, right there by Oak Street, the train tracks, River Road to Lamar Crescent City Ford in under 10 minutes. It's right there. Convenient. On the river, on the lake. Lamarck's got you covered every day. This program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex and Lamar Crescent City Ford, your commercial truck, van, and SUV dealership. Yeah, that Smitty's supply explosion and fire. We don't know what happened, what caused it. But pretty much most of I was shocked. 450 employees. That's a huge employer. 450? If Michael Hecht came on this program on Friday and said, hey, man, we got this company, Smitty's Supply. They store oil and other petroleum-based products in tanks. They're going to open up in Tangipahoa Parish, and it's going to employ 450 people. I'd be like, man, that's a home run. Single, double, triple. We kind of have a little game Michael and I play. If it's, 8, 5, 10, 12 jobs, 15 jobs, it's kind of a single. If it's maybe 25 or more jobs, maybe it's a double. If you're getting up to like 75, 100, 125, it's like you're getting into like a triple. 3, 4, 500, that's a home run. And then you get north of 1,000, it's a grand slam. You're just cranking it out the park. But 450 jobs is damn good, damn significant. No, and it sucks that Smitty Supply is leveled. It's going to take a while for them to rebuild if they're gonna in that spot, another spot, and get operations fully back to where they were. It could take a few years to get back to 450 employees. Sure, they're going to build a few tanks and start operating again. And while they're doing that, it might be 50 employees hired, and then they build a few more tanks, and in a few months, they hire a few more people. I think it's going to be like that. No, it's a big blow, 450 jobs. It's brutal. Speaking of brutal, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. 12-year-old Brian Vasquez, the kid that is nonverbal, who snuck out of the house, was found 12 days later, dead in a canal not far from the house in New Orleans East, found by the Cajun Navy and their drones. Blunt force trauma was ruled by the coroner, and now it is blunt force trauma caused by an alligator. Like an alligator knocked this kid out, and then this kid drowned, apparently. That's what the coroner's saying. Just beyond sad and tragic story. 12-year-old boy, autistic, nonverbal, snuck out of the house. No, it's just a sad story. NOPD catching a lot of crap. The family called about a missing child like 10 a.m. NOPD arrived like 3 p.m., like 5 hours later. 5 hours later. Now, I make that call in Jefferson Parish. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere between, I'm not kidding you, 8 and 12 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, not 5 hours. If I make that call in like Gretna or Kenner that have their own police force, it might be 90 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So like Gretna or Kenner with their own police force, 90 seconds, 2 or 3 minutes till the police come when you're saying a child's missing. In Jefferson Parish, and these are just guesstimations on my part, 9 to 12 minutes. In New Orleans, 5 hours. And you want to know what? pathetically, I'm like, wow, it only took New Orleans 5 hours to respond. Shocked they responded at all almost. No, that's just unacceptable. But also, you can't strictly put the blame on NOPD responding 5 hours late. There's a new lawsuit alleging that Archbishop Gregory Amen helped conceal the child sex abuse case. Now, there's a benefit as to how I do this program. And I'm lucky I've got a lot of family, and I've got a lot of friends, and I've got a lot of kind of, acquaintances, like lots of family, like at least a dozen plus family members, a dozen plus, always around, always available, always there. Got a dozen friends that I'm like tight with, like a dozen that are like best friend types. Then I've got a few dozen friends, maybe 100, and then like a few hundred acquaintances. It's crazy. I'm fully covered. But one of the benefits I get doing this program, first off, I'm for whatever reason, I'm not enamored by celebrities or athletes. I don't know if it was covering sports, didn't care that they were athletes. Like, oh, wow, it's Joe Montana. I'm in awe. Shaquille O'Neal. Wow. Don't really care. I care to do the job right, but I'm not in awe. They're just people. So never like, in awe or seeking to be friends or going after celebrities. Don't care. Never cared. I don't care about the big shots. I don't befriend the big shots. And most importantly, like the number one rule in journalism, you have a microphone, a camera in front of you, shocking. I talk about, I don't befriend the people I cover. I don't have any political friends, hang out with, go to dinner with, none. I've told you, I got a lot of family, friends, be friends, acquaintances by the hundreds. Don't need to befriend the big shots. Don't need to befriend the folks I'm covering, politicians, the power brokers. No, they're not my friends. Might have them on my cell phone, but I'm not calling them on speed dial and talking about life or problems. No, it's a benefit. That's why, not to go off topic, but mind-blowing that you have not one, but two talk radio hosts now on kind of fledgling AM signals exclusively. One is on like a kind of hyper white, right-wing wacko conservative outlet. And this host works for the government, works for a Baton Rouge elected official, and has that elected official on the program promoting him, and all the while bashing that elected official's competition, and pulls like, I think, a 6-figure salary with the state. Works in Baton Rouge, yet does a radio show in New Orleans, lives on the North Shore, just mind-blowing. Doesn't have a respect for the microphone or the camera, doesn't accept that responsibility. And is going to bat for someone that is paying him. I mean, in radio, we kind of call that payola. Usually that's illegal in a way. At the very least, it's unethical, immoral. It's not what you do when you do this. This is the gig. I'm a talk radio host, not I work for the government and I happen to do the talk radio host. And by the way, my boss, I promote the hell out of him and bash his competition on the radio. So if you don't find a problem, contradiction, hypocrisy in that, then I don't know, you're not paying attention. Then there's the opposite of this wacky right-wing, hyper-right MAGA station. There's this black AM that's woke, that bigoted against white, Jewish folks, women. It's insane the crap they get away with. I listen to it because it's so bad it's entertaining. They have a host that works for Susan Hudson, Sheriff Susan Hudson, full-time job. This host has no law enforcement experience and has the sheriff on it and promotes the sheriff and bashes the competition. Neither one of these extremists see it as a problem. Neither one sees it as a problem. The right-wing wacko guys, like everybody knows I work for so-and-so in the government. I forget who it is. Some elected official in the state, some BS do-nothing job. It's like, no, everyone doesn't know. If you ever notice, like the Times-Picayune, they'll have a story, and at the bottom they'll say, John Georges owns the Time-Picayune. John Georges is also an investor in blank, like what the story was about, or his buddy is an investor. There's like a disclaimer, like, here's the story, but we want to let you know, every story they do this where there's a conflict. John Georges is the owner of the Times-Picayune, and he has blah, blah, blah. They're letting you know about some potential conflict, or he has an investment in this, just to let you know. This guy's like, everybody knows I work for so-and-so. You'd have to say it every time you're bashing the competition that's running against him. By the way, I think so-and-so sucks, but I do work full-time, salary and benefits for the elected guy that I promote all the time. You'd have to say that every time you discuss it. You never can assume everybody knows. I didn't know any of it. I don't listen to the show. I didn't know any history of it, but that's just pathetic. Beyond conflict of interest, just pathetic. And then the host on the Black AM station, the woke station, works for Susan Sheriff Hudson, inserts head up Susan Hudson's butt continuously, just having her on the show with softball pitch, you're the greatest, and then has a full-time gig with the sheriff. Again, beyond conflict of interest. No, there's a new lawsuit alleging Archbishop Gregory Amen helped conceal child sex abuse. When we come back, I'll talk about that. As a Catholic in New Orleans, that's my church, that's my archdiocese. But it doesn't matter because I don't befriend Gregory Amen and the church and the archdiocese or people involved in it, especially nowadays because I have to be fair and objective, and in this case, be very critical of the archdiocese. And this story seems to have some traction. I'll come back and tell you about it next.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Corey Johnson back at you. Yeah, you right. Thanks so much for joining us. I don't know if you knew this or not. I got $100,000 a year gig. I work for Senator Steve Scalise. Representative Steve Scalise, excuse me, not Senator. I work for Representative Steve Scalise. I make $100,000 a year. Just letting you know that. Could you imagine? I have a position in the Mayor Junket Cantrell's administration. Just want to let y'all know. But I'm going to come on the radio and do a fair, objective job and be critical of my boss if need be. It's just mind-blowing. Like you're going to have, this Stevens guy who works for Sheriff Susan Hudson be critical of the sheriff and expect to be able to go into work on Monday and get a paycheck on Friday. It is mind-blowing to me. I mean, we're in 2025, and I know social media has blurred the journalism lines greatly. We've lost newspapers with investigative reporters that do months and months of stuff for like one Sunday splash. And we've replaced it with like social media hacks, just spewing out misinformation. But I thought like old school talk radio, my God, especially like on the AM side of the dial, it's like the hardcore talk radio. But I often talk about New Orleans, extreme liberal, woke, Louisiana, wacky right wing, extreme. It's why we fail. There's no moderation. There's no like middle ground. It's why we fail. No, and it's sickening. It's sickening. No, but you have a hyper woke station in New Orleans. It's crazy. It's the Black AM, WBOK. I listen to it sometimes, not really anymore because they had Tavis Smiley on at night and they moved him to the middle of the day. And I even told the owners, like, no one wants to listen to this syndicated stuff during the day. Black folks, white folks, no one. It doesn't matter how big you think Tavis Smiley is. Two things. No one wants to listen, and you can't sell it locally. You're 0 for 2 on this. Get rid of it during the day. Put it back at night where no one cares. Local. So I used to listen because there was a lot of local shows and just insane. This mid-morning show where I swear this guy and girl go on, no preparation. They just, man, I was driving to work today. I saw a squirrel run up the tree. Oh, wow, I saw that same squirrel. I mean, just talking, just whatever's on their mind. That's the show for 2 hours. It's just like, I'm laughing. After about 10 minutes, I kind of get bored of that one. But they had a few shows where this early morning show, this afternoon show, just bigoted towards white folks, anti-Jewish, anti-women, just misogynist stuff just being said, just couldn't get away with it anywhere else. Just hysterical. No, but the afternoon host, Mr. Stevens, works full-time for Sheriff Susan Hudson, has her on the program often, and kisses her rear end. Softball pitch, just, you're the greatest. The city's wrong. The media's out to get you, all that crap. And then Mr. Cruer on an extreme right wing, the opposite of BOK. BOK is like loony left woke. The show Cruer does is wacky right wing, hardcore MAGA. Nothing else matters. And he works for John Fleming, the state treasurer. Full-time job. and has Fleming on and praises him and bashes Fleming's opponent. And neither one of these hosts seems to think there's a conflict of interest. Doesn't seem to think there's a problem there. Just mind-blowing to me. Unbelievable. Just, I mean, I don't know. I don't get the lack of understanding the what a microphone and camera's all about. And these guys have been at it like a few decades. There's really no excuse. You can't do both, fellas. Pick one. Go work for the politicians, and you can praise them and kiss their rear end all day long. Or do a talk radio program. And your talk radio program can lean left or lean right. That's fine. It can have an ideology base. Hell, popular talk radio is conservative based. Embrace that. Just don't work for the people that you're praising and accept money from them doing some BS meaningless job that you're obviously not putting in 40 tough hours. It's a joke. It's a joke. No expertise, either one, in what they do. Just terrible. No, I don't have any of that. I don't befriend the big shots, much less take money from them. I mean, money makes people funny. Money influences folks. I don't take money from the BS attorneys, the injury attorneys, because I don't believe in that crap. So I'm not going to be a hypocrite and, hey, Morris Bard, if you ever have an accident, call Morris Bard. He's a good guy. Buddy Bard, good guy. Call Morris Bard, And I don't gamble. And I don't have anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with gambling. It's legal. That's fine. But I don't gamble. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you, go to the sports book and make a bet. I don't gamble, but you should. It's just not my thing. And that's a lot of money I leave on the table. The sports books, they're giving the money away. I could personally make a few $1,000 a month. So I had that up, that 20, 30 grand a year I'm leaving on the table. Injury attorneys, they're lining up to be on the program and have me promote them because they want to be the injury attorney that Corey, the guy who bashes injury attorneys, but likes me. I'm special. They're lining up. There's a few more grand I could make. And I'm probably leaving like 50 grand a year on the table, not having radio and television commercials that could be sold on my program, and then sales having me do live personal endorsements for the law firm or the casino. I would do like Caesars if it was promoting like the restaurants, and I like the restaurants. I'd have to go to them and eat at them and see if they're good, which I haven't been. I've been to the concert venue, on the second floor of the casino, named after the Fillmore, named after the venue in California. It's pretty first class. So, would I, Greg DeLeo, I'd let him advertise on the show because he's not pushing, I'll get you a check. He's giving you law advice. But there are very, very few exceptions. Finally getting to Archbishop Gregory Amen. There's a new lawsuit alleging that Gregory Amen helped conceal child sex abuse. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think without a doubt, and I'm not trying to upset my fellow Catholics. I get it. It's religion. It's your faith. It's special. You don't want some talk radio host, TV guy bashing your religion, bashing your religious leaders. I think Gregory Amen's a holy man. I think he's not some charlatan. I don't think he's some televangelist. I think he's a holy man that sacrifices his life for God and the people. But I also think he is part of that New Orleans Catholic Archdiocese, Philadelphia, D.C., wherever, Chicago, wherever there's a powerful Catholic Archdiocese, they're all kind of the same way. Lots of secrets kept inside. This priest or brother does something wrong. We just ship him off to, El Paso or somewhere far away and hope it doesn't repeat itself. And we pray it doesn't repeat itself, but it's human nature. It's inevitably going to repeat itself. I mean, something the Catholic Church, you want priests coming in. You want people that want to be priests. But then there's an inclination to believe folks when you can see that maybe they're coming into the priesthood for all the wrong reasons. That maybe they have something wrong and the priesthood is a place that they can play out that something wrong. No, it's tough. I'm not sitting here. I think Gregory Amon's a good, honorable man. And then I think if you're a family where your kid was sexually abused or you're an individual that was sexually abused, you could be 50, 60, 70 years old today. And Gregory Amon and predecessors concealed it, helped cover it up. And you'd be like, no, Corey's not a good man. I'm trying to look at the whole. And yes, there's some stuff that should have never happened. And it's sad. It's, a friend of mine had a great house on St. Charles Avenue. It burned to the ground. He was there when it was burning to the ground. And he was like, man, that's so insightful you say that. I'm just like, no, I've heard other people talk about it and I've read things about it and experienced it with other people. And it was a little fire started and they thought they could contain it. And all of a sudden it's going up the wall and okay. And then wow, what thought it was just going to be the cabinet. Now it's this whole wall. We're going to have to redo this whole back house. Boy, the smell of smoke's in here. This is becoming a nightmare. Then all of a sudden it's going up to the ceiling. Whoa, this thing's really getting out of control. Then it's taking down the whole house. Had a buddy of mine that lit the, seat cushion on the couch by accident. It was like, man, my mom's going to freak. She loves this sofa. When am I going to have to hide the pillow? Then the sofa catches on fire. Oh my God, you got to rid of the whole pillow, the whole sofa. Catches the drape. The whole half of the house burns to the ground. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. So Gregory Amon, the Archdiocese in New Orleans and all around the country, they're trying to, okay, send that priest away, send that brother away. Okay, another incident, Then they don't realize it's stacking on top of each other. They forgot about A, they're working on, some pedophile B, C, D, E. It's all stacking up and they kind of know it, but they don't. They're just plowing forward. I'm not trying to cut them any slack. The opposite. This new lawsuit alleges Archbishop Gregory Amon helped conceal child sex abuse. And I want to say I know that's true, but I definitely believe that is true. And I think Gregory Amon knows it's true when he ultimately thinks about it. This just obsession of protecting the church. It's gone on for thousands of years, most likely. Corey Johnson with you. I was there on Sunday, Lebanon's Cafe. Me, my sister, my brother, my sister in from Virginia, my brother in from London, my brother in town, my sister in town, my mom, Lebanon's Cafe. Yeah, I'm half Syrian, half Lebanese. I love this stuff. I grew up on this stuff. My grandmother, Situ, that's Arabic for grandmother on my mom's side. Fried kibbe at Lebanon's Cafe reminds me of my Situ's fried kibbe. Open till 9:30 tonight, Lebanon's Cafe.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof. Now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday, Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
I just got an email from a MAGA guy, kind of a conservative, I shouldn't say MAGA guy, conservative guy. Listens to Cruair's conservative show, he says. Listens a few minutes every day. Says he has Fleming on the program all the time, and it is just an easy interview, like they're friends. And he had no idea that he worked for Fleming, for John Fleming. So Cruair says, everybody knows I work for John Fleming. No, nobody knows you work for John Fleming. And if you were doing it right, like the Times-Picayune, at the end of a story, they'll say, John Georges owns the Times-Picayune. He's also an investor in the company mentioned in the story, or something like that, where there's a potential conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. No, it's unbelievable. The FCC should be like, can't do this. It's one or the other. You know? Can't do this. It's one or the other. No, we've got 2 examples of this on 2 kind of fledgling AM radio stations that are talk. One of them is the black AM station in town that's hyper liberal, hyper woke. They say they're the black station in town. You know, I would say most black folks in New Orleans have no idea that station exists, literally. Old school folks like 50, 60 plus, their demographic, yes, they may know. Then you've got this hyper right station where most MAGA conservatives in Metro New Orleans have no idea this station exists. But it's wacky right. It's the opposite. They are polar opposites, diametrically opposed. There's no flexibility. The other side doesn't exist. The other side is evil. The other side's racist. The other side has no benefit. The other side's the devil. It's pathetic. Part of the problem in America, this kind of crap. But these guys double down. They double down. The Stevens guy at WBOK, the woke station, works for Sheriff Susan Hudson full-time and gets her on his program all the time and promotes her and throws softball questions, and it's a big buddy-buddy interview. It's pathetic. If you didn't work for her, it's pathetic. Do your job, man. Have some integrity. Ask real questions. You're not supposed to befriend these people and go to bat for them, work for them, much less literally work for them and pull a salary, get paid by them. And then Cruair works for Treasurer John Fleming, earning 6 figures a year, doing, like Stevens, nothing, yet still has a talk radio show. And like Stevens, keeps it kind of secret on the down low that he works for Fleming and acts like he's not keeping it on the down low. Everyone knows when this guy's like, I listen all the time. He has Fleming on all the time. It's like a buddy interview. They're friends. And I had no idea he worked for Fleming. Yeah, works for Fleming, full-time job, benefits 6 figures a year. Puts Fleming on and praises him and bashes Fleming's competition if it's an election or anyone being critical. Just pathetic. Conflict of interest at the highest level. I mean, in the dictionary, conflict of interest, these two guys are in the definition. Now, here's the craziest part. The Stevens guy, I probably wouldn't hire. He's kind of an unsavory guy, sort of a deviant in behavior. Cruer, although he would never hire me. I remember when I worked at a station, he was running and doing a show. Anytime I'd be like right-wing wacko, he'd go complain to the boss. I mean, just sort of thin-skinned on that. What's ironic is I'd hire Jeff probably to do a show. Just has a conservative base. I disagree with 99% of what he thinks, his ideology. It's extreme wacko, right? But he has a base, and I don't think he's doing deviant behavior. I don't think. Maybe he is. I have no idea. This working for, Fleming. That would stop me from hiring him now. But before I knew this, I would hire him, but he would never hire me. It's just, I look at like a business thing like, yeah, Jeff, we're not friends and probably don't have a lot in common, so we're probably not going to be friends. I don't hate you. And, you seem to have a show that has some pulse to it with these conservative folks a little bit, not saying it's the biggest thing, but if you want to work something out, I had space, I'd put him on, but not now, not with this. Just crazy. I don't get how folks, I don't know, when I get in front of this microphone, the camera, I just think there's a built-in responsibility with it where you don't come on unprepared. You don't talk about things that you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't make assumptions all the time. And you don't work for people that you're praising and taking money from them. First off, you don't befriend folks you're covering, period. And you most definitely don't take money from folks and praise them and bash the competition. Just something morally wrong, just not right about that. Boy, this Smitty's Supply explosion fire up in Roseland off Highway 51 in Tangipahoa Parish. I mean, thank God no one injured. Incredible no one was injured. No one killed. But 450 employees. I was blown away when I heard that. I thought there'd be 45 employees or something. This place was a major facility with a lot of people working there. 450 employees. That's a major employer, 450. I was blown away by that number. And then bummed out. Nearly 450 people out of work right now. And it's going to take a long time for Smitty's Supply, if they're coming back, to get it back online. Like if they're like, we're going to come back stronger than ever, build a bigger, better facility. I mean, in what, 6 months, they're going to hire 50 people to run the phase 1 they built. And then it's probably phase 2, 3, and 4 to get back to like 450 employees. It could take years. No, this is devastating. And there's no way around it. Also devastating, Brian Vasquez, the 12-year-old nonverbal kid in New Orleans East that was found 12 days later after sneaking out of his house in the canal. Blunt force trauma involved in his death, and now they're saying it was an alligator. An alligator knocked the kid unconscious and then he drowned. Just crazy. Sad. Got a big one for you in the 5 o'clock powwow. Steve Nelson from the Sewage and Water Board will join us. We'll find out what's going on with the power plant, the substation. And also LIV Golf. We've been talking about it for months. It's been on the LIV calendar. New Orleans tour dates June 26th through 28th, like for the last 2 months. LIV Golf, the governor, some bigwigs celebrating it today. They'll play at City Park in June, in the summer. In June. Total downtime. I'm not a big proponent of LIV Golf, but I'm a proponent of New Orleans, so I'm all for this. Coming right back.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Yeah, you right. 5 o'clock power hours upon us. Corey Johnson with you. Wide Open Wednesday. Before we get things started, some great news. He's coming out of retirement. Number 9. And he's going to go back into the television booth. That's Drew Brees. What do you think I was talking about? Spencer Rattler's the starter for your New Orleans Saints. And it has nothing to do with Spencer Rattler. As the week goes on, especially Fridays with Fletch, we will both give our, picks for Saints, Tulane, LSU records. Not game by game, just the general record. Like Tulane, I'm saying 11-1, and I'm sticking with that. 11-1. Super high expectations for the Wave. If LSU or Tulane don't win 10 games or more, I think Tulane and LSU fans respectively are going to be upset. There's an expectation there. Tulane 11-1. I had LSU at 10-2. And my heart keeps saying 10-2, but my brain's saying 9-3. So I've probably got to go with the brain at 9-3. I hope I'm wrong, because that would be a disappointing season. Brian Kelly doesn't go to the playoffs in year 4. Something's wrong with Brian Kelly at LSU. That would be unacceptable, I would think. Puts him on the hot seat. Makes it, hey, you don't even have Nussmeier, but you got to go to the playoffs in year 5 or you're fired. 8-4 or something could get him fired. Some $40-50 million buyout to boot. Ouch. So Wave 11-1, LSU 9-3. I said maybe a month ago when we were just sort of getting into this, I think the Saints are going to win about 5 or 6 games. I think the Saints are going to lose 5 or 6 games, like where they're in it in the fourth quarter, where play here, play there, they could have won it, but they're going to lose. And then they're going to lose 5 or 6 games getting blown out where it's done at halftime or in the third quarter. So win 5 or 6, lose 5 or 6, sort of close and competitive, and lose 5 or 6 getting blown out. Now, I've kind of made an adjustment on that. I think they're going to win about 4 games total. The over-under is 4.5. I would bet the under if I were a gambling man. The sucker bets the over. The Saints are going to win like 4 games, I would predict. I am predicting. And then I think they're going to play another 4 games kind of close. And then I think like 6 or 8, they're going to be over by halftime or third quarter. There's just, I can't think of a position on the field where the Saints are strong. Now you go running back, Alvin Kamara. Yeah, at starting running back, they're strong, but with a questionable offensive line, questionable quarterback, it makes running back a weak position. So you can't say running back's a strength, or O-line, or tight end, or quarterback. Wide receiver isn't a weakness, but I wouldn't say it's like a strength. Lots of teams have 2 or 3 decent wide receivers like the Saints. D-line, defensive back, it's all big question mark. Linebacker and kicker, I guess those are a pseudo strength, linebacker and kicker. And then you need about, I remember under Sean Payton, when the Saints went like 7-9, 3 years in a row, they had about 5 players that were like, all pro, Pro Bowl, could start for any team, like star players, like about 5 of them. When the Saints were 7-9, those 3 years in a row. When the Saints were winning, going 11, 12, 13 wins, going into the playoffs, all that, they had nearly a dozen players, like a dozen that were legit, more than double. How many superstar players do you see on this Saints team? I mean, Alvin Kamara. Yeah, I'm waiting. You can't say DeMario Davis, long in the tooth. Cam Jordan, long in the tooth. Hell, the second-year offensive tackle might be the next guy. I mean, It's hard to name like more than one or two or three, much less a half dozen, and you need like a dozen to be good. So no, the Saints are just that ship sailing towards 4 wins by my logic. But we'll break it all down Friday with Fletcher Mackle. Fridays with Fletch. Wide open Wednesday. In less than 10 minutes, Steve Nelson with the Sewerage and Water Board is going to join us. Just get an update on this $300 million substation that's still not online, and an update on how much power the Sewage and Water Board does have going right now and how prepared they are for, hurricane season and the like. There's no big storms or any rain event on the horizon, but the power plant was supposed to be open last month, then a few weeks ago, and it's still being delayed. So find out what's going on there with Steve Nelson, straight shooter. I like national searches and going all over. I don't know how much Steve Nelson was considered to run the Sewage and Water Board, but I mentioned last hour how good of a job Ghassan Corbin did. And I forgot to mention the staff he put together, the higher ups, like the 6, 8, maybe 10 folks that are at high up, positions with influence. Steve Nelson's one of those guys. That's one thing Ghassan Corbin did really well, as a great staff. No, the Sewage and Water Board's broken and dysfunctional, as bad as it gets. But in the last 7 years under Ghassan Corbin, those 2 big water towers, keeping water pressure like it's supposed to be, smart meters coming online, $300 million power substation, getting rid of all the tomfoolery, people stealing brass, the handicap parking, the jokers downtown, got rid of all that. Cleaning up the Sewage and Water Board. Probably did more in 7 years than the last 70. And another one was putting together a great upper management staff. Steve Nelson would have been a good choice to lead the Sewage and Water Board. They brought in a guy from Philly. I'm hoping he is legitimate. I hope he's, I mentioned a comparison to the Office of Inspector General. Like right now you got Ed Michel, Pitbull, the guy who started it in the beginning, a Pitbull, Bob Sarasoli. Ed Cottreville, I think, was a Pitbull, was a little long in the tooth when he got the gig, but was an honest man. Do nothing. Derry Harper says it all. Do nothing. Did nothing. Plus had an agenda like up politicians' rear end. Just took the salary and ran. Never showed up for work. This OIG in the city of New Orleans is of vital importance. This is a dysfunctional, broken city that needs to be scrutinized. The OIG is the perfect entity to do it, especially in New Orleans, where it's a powerful OIG office with autonomy. Unlike the Jefferson Parish model, run by the politicians, they're hamstringing Kim Chatelaine. Kim Chatelaine works with one hand tied behind her back, blindfolded. No, the politicians run Jefferson Parish. Didn't you know that? That's why the OIG's office isn't strong like it is in New Orleans. St. Tammany doesn't even have one, thanks to A.G. Crow, but you got the Naturally Nolans Bridge. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Naturally Nolans Bridge. I love Frank Davis. The pier or something down there, Frank Davis Pier. Beloved Frank Davis. You probably ask Frank Davis if he was alive today. He'd be like, no, name the pier after me, not the I-10 twin span. He'd probably be like, I don't get it. What do I have to do with the I-10 twin span? Hey, it's the Nash Roberts high rise. It's the Margaret Orr I-610. Just A.G. Crow. Get no IG for St. Tammany. We don't need that. We don't need an auditor, CPA type scrutinizing all this taxpayer money that me and my friends are spending. We're doing a good job, but we're going to do the Naturally Nolans Bridge. Naturally Nolans Bridge. The story we broke here, along with both Mackles, Fletcher and Travers Mackle, coming to fruition. I mean, it's been on the LIG official website for months. New Orleans tour stop, June 26th to 28th. LIV folks, Governor Jeff Landry in New Orleans, lots of bigwigs. LIV Golf coming to New Orleans, coming to City Park next summer. about 11 months away, 10 and a half months away. They'll do it in June in the heat, in the humidity at City Park South. They're going to invest a couple of $2.5 million, I think, in City Park South, but I think it's primarily the driving range, making it, pro ready and a practice area for the pros that's legit, which benefits the city's golfers. And then I think they're going to have to put up some like bubble for like locker rooms. I don't know how much of the $2.5 million's physically going in the golf course. I hope some of it, because they're all kind of great plans for the course. I've seen some, I've heard about a lot, including LIV, like adding 4 tee boxes to lengthen the course. Greg Norman, who I don't really like, I think he's just a rude, caustic individual. I've met him a few times. Both times he was a jerk. Not gracious at all. He toured the course, and right away, hole, 17, a par 3. Nice to lower the right side of the green down by the water. I'm like, that's a brilliant idea. But it is Greg Norman, a golfer that designs courses. Right away, he sees a major improvement. There are a bunch of those they could do. Too late to do them for this year. But the good news is a little spotlight on New Orleans, a total dead period of time. I don't think the $60 million economic benefit that Cameron Henry was quoting is anywhere near realistic. But I think year one, it might be 15, 20 million economic impact and improvements to City Park and the golf course. So I'll take it, even though I'm not a fan of LIV Golf and the Saudis.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TF-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TF-AC.com, your cool spots.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port NOLA has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, insagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Thanks so much for joining us. Hey, if you wear prescription eyewear like me or just need a great pair of sunglasses, do not go to the mall. Do not go to some chain store. Check out Art and Eyes on Magazine. I know, you're like, what's Art and Eyes? I'm telling you, it's one of the finest eyewear boutiques in the country, something you'd find like in New York or Los Angeles. I've been going to them for the last few years. I'm so glad I found them. Super high quality eyewear, all different price points, thousands of selections. But the best part, eyewear that's as unique as you, eyewear you'll find nowhere else. Google them, Art and Eyes on Magazine. You'll be glad you did. Hey, Steve Nelson joins us from the Sewerage and Water Board. Seems to always be available when we need him. I appreciate that. How you doing, Steve?
I'm well. Thank you, Corey. Thanks for having me.
What's going on over at the Sewerage and Water Board?
Oh, man, lots of stuff going on. Moving forward with getting those frequency changers tested. That continues this week. Getting Turbine 5 back online. Should be back within that time frame for end of next week. Get us up above 60 megawatts of power again. T4 is running. We're continuing to clean catch basins. The smart metering program, we got 90% of our meters swapped over to smart meters, and just continue to move forward with staffing up so we can address issues, water leaks, street repairs in a more timely fashion. So lots happening.
Hey, the $300 million power substation, it's the testing of these frequency changers with what? General Electric or someone is what the deal is? What's going on there?
Yeah, so GE is actually on site with Turbine 5. We've got a repair with the control system. That's what GE is doing on site. The frequency changers are actually being tested by the contractor and by Siemens, who manufactured those. We're running those looking to run those on some pumps this week. We're going to continue that on larger pumps next week. And then we're going to get into a period of what we're calling reliability testing, which is basically putting it through its paces in every situation that we can manufacture or that nature gives us.
What was the problem with cranking this bad boy up last month, and then it was a few weeks delay, and then it didn't happen again? I know it's the frequency changers, but why wasn't it ready in July as originally anticipated?
The scheduling in July, they had to do some additional testing that they had to coordinate. And then this latest issue, we had a problem with the wiring that has since been diagnosed and fixed. And so we're back to where we were at about a week and a half that pushed us out there from mid-August. So we're now getting into the end of August. We're at a place where we're testing pumps now.
This is strictly Sewage and Water Board. Entergy is 100% finished with their end of it, right?
That is correct. Their substation has been online for quite some time, so they did a great job of getting that done and getting the power supply ready for us. Their system has performed just as it's supposed to. So we're the folks that need to get things online, and we're working on that, and should be, like I said, testing pumps this week and next.
This $300 million power substation, will it power everything?
So the substation it generates 25 hertz power. So what we get out of our sockets in the wall is AC power that comes out at a frequency of 60 hertz. So about half of the pumps in the old part of the city, so that's from the industrial canal to the parish line, the river to the lake, about half of those pumps run on this 25 hertz power. And so this frequency changers are going to take Entergy power at 60 hertz, convert it to 25, and then we will send it out to those older pumps. And that'll take the place of those older turbines, the turbines 4 and 5 in particular, that generate 25 hertz power.
So that's strictly for the 25 hertz power.
That's right. So we do have some potable water pumps at the Carrollton water plant that run on 25 hertz. So this substation will help that. So it'll alleviate some of those redundancy issues with the potable pumping. But the vast majority of what it's going to be used for are those 25 hertz pumps in the old part of the city.
How long have you been with the Sewage and Water Board, Steve?
Well, I've lived in New Orleans for the better part of 13, 14 years. Going back to 2006, I've been with the board closing on 3 years now. So not super long, but
Now, just from the 3 years that you've been there and maybe some past knowledge of the Sewage and Water Board, how many 25 hertz pumps have been replaced with 60 hertz pumps?
well, the challenge with replacing a 25 hertz pump with a 60 hertz pump, and the answer is none of our large pumps have been replaced. And there's a reason for that. Or a number of reasons. With those pumps, it's not just the pump, it's the size of it, because the 25 hertz rotates at a slower speed. So I have to add a gearbox to the pump. That makes it larger. And the pump station buildings are not generally large enough to accommodate that larger pump. So I'd have to replace the building. And then on top of that, I've got to replace the electrical feeder from our Carrollton water plant to wherever that pump is. And on top of that, as I'm doing that work, we lose the functionality of that pump. And that's at pump stations that we really don't have a whole lot of redundancy with. So the capital cost is 3 or 4 times what the power complex would have cost. And it adds some real serious operational challenges. That's not to say that we don't want to replace those pumps, but the more cost-effective solution is this power complex project.
And of course, I get that, but I thought they were replacing pumps to 60 hertz as they become not repairable and that type of thing. And I thought eventually the plan was to get rid of all of them eventually and be 100% 60 hertz down the line. It might be decades, but that's the goal, I thought. No?
At some point, yes, it would be a decades-long process. But again, you're talking about a billions with a B, and that's where some of the discussions about the future with the stormwater fee and some of these other proposals to be able to replace not just the pumps but the buildings and the feeders as well.
When do you anticipate Siemens and the contractors finishing up on testing these frequency changers and giving the power station a full-blown green light?
Well, that first frequency changer is the big one, because that's going to provide over 20 megawatts of power for us. We need 44 megawatts of that 25 hertz power at max capacity. And this is a lot of information and numbers, but what it essentially does is allows us to get away from having to rely on turbine 4, which was built in 1906. So it's a really interesting old piece of equipment, but I really want to see that thing retired. And frequency changer 1 is going to remove that. And like I said, we're testing pumps on it this week and next, and then it gets into a reliability testing phase where we're essentially using it under any circumstance we can, real world use. And then that will be done in 30 days. And then there are 2 other frequency changers coming online after that that'll probably be finished towards the end of October, early November. And then that will fully replace our need for turbines. And we will run our potable pumps and our drainage pumps exclusively on frequency changers.
How many megawatts of power do the second and third frequency changer produce?
Each one is between 20 and 22 megawatts. So each one, 2 of them together will produce 44. And then that third one is purely redundancy. So we want to get to a place where we're able to do proactive O&M. So having 3 of them will allow us to have any one down at one time for maintenance. And so we won't have the risk of that in the future.
Not to be picky on dates, you said like 1904. I thought it was 1915, whatever. The Model T turbine 4, that thing is running, you said earlier, right now, that the steam powered turbine is running right now?
It is running right now, yes. Yep, we're powering pumps on it as we speak.
And the one from the late 50s, 1958, turbine 5, that is a General Electric turbine, right? I mean, it has GE on the side of it, doesn't it?
It is. Both 4 and 5 are GE units.
Wow. The steam powered one from like 1915 is, I thought that was Edison Electric.
Well, I hear there's apocryphal tales that Thomas Edison's name is on the commissioning documents, but I haven't seen that with my eyes.
And then I heard it came from Niagara Falls, was running there for a few years, and the city of New Orleans got it, I don't know, in the 20s or 30s or something. I don't know. All kind of stories.
Something around those lines. Yeah, it very well may have traveled down here by horsepower.
Yeah, exactly. T4 is steam powered, which is crazy. T5 is what do you guys run that on, like diesel or something? Natural gas?
That's a natural gas fired turbine. Yep.
T5. That's the one from the late 50s. And that one is down, and General Electric's working on that one, right?
Yes. Yeah. We had an electrical fault in the control system. We've isolated the issue. We've just got to follow up and find the exact location of the fault, and we will get that back online. Like I said, should be back on by the projected end of next week.
I love telling people, like, T4 from 1915 is like 3 school buses stacked on top of each other. T5 from 1958 is about the size of 1 school bus. And T6 is a jet engine about the size of an SUV.
Yeah, the only thing so 5 is considerably larger than 4. So those are kind of swapped.
Oh, I thought 4 is like 3 stories tall.
No, 4. So the generator and the turbine itself are not very big, but you've got a whole series of boilers.
That's what I'm talking about. The entire complex.
Like a whole building and then the turbine. But you're exactly right. You can stand at one spot on our campus and kind of see where all these different pieces of power generation are housed, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, no, hopefully it'll be a museum one day soon. All right, literally. Hey, Steve, because you're never removing those turbines. That's just a waste of money. And what are you going to do with the building? Hey, Steve, before we let you go, we got like 30 seconds. How do you feel the Sewage and Water Board right now is prepared for hurricane season as it continues? And there's no rain event on the Doppler. Just asking the question in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're in a good place. Obviously, I really want to see T5 come back online. I really prefer to have the redundancy of between 60 and 70 megawatts, even though we only need 44. Having that redundancy is very, very helpful.
Yep.
And until the frequency changers have really been tested, we are going to continue to run T5 in the background just to make sure we don't have any issues.
Yep.
And will not hurt us to have another 20 megawatts from frequency changer 1.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago.
Steve,
These
a
belts
pleasure.
and
Thank
innovative
you.
Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing
Nelson,
facilities
Sewage and
around
Water
the
Board,
world.
coming right
Interlocks
back.
is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday.
trillion.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called quick lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
South Shore residents that love good food are making the short trip across the lake to Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. North Shore folks have known about Gallagher's 527 for years. Now the South Shore has discovered this hidden gem. One of the metro area's best restaurants is less than 30 minutes away. Take the quick trip across the lake and experience Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. As good as it gets.
That voice guy's right. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville is as good as it gets. If you live on the South Shore and you like to, eat at really good restaurants, Gallagher's 527 needs to be on your list. I didn't even know about Gallagher's. I remember Pat Gallagher in the Winner's Circle from decades ago. And I'd heard of Gallagher's restaurants on the North Shore, but really didn't focus in on it. Because the North Shore's got a lot of viable restaurants, some really, really good. And a buddy of mine sends me this photo. I mean, as we get older, we don't send pictures of women. We send pictures of food. And he sent me this photo, oval plate with 4 lamb chops in a row. And I could tell from the photo they were sizzling in butter. I was like, geez, where's that? Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Within like 3 or 4 days from the photo, and knowing my friend likes to eat like me, I'm at Gallagher's 527 enjoying those lamb chops. And then I'm getting that mixed grill. They got 2 lamb chops and the quail. Unbelievable. Steak sizzling in butter, turtle soup, gumbo. That's some of the best you'll get anywhere. Great sides like the sweet potato casserole, the seafood merlaton. Where do you get merlaton in Metro New Orleans? Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. I can't stress it enough. I know some of you folks are like, I'm not driving to the North Shore. It's enjoyable. It's relaxing. You get on the causeway. There are no exits or entrances. Put it on cruise, about 67. Stay in the right lane. You got friends, family, double date, whatever, 2 couples, chit-chat, enjoying yourselves. Before you know it, in 25 minutes from Lakeside Shopping Center, you're pulling up to Gallagher's 527. They're right behind the Shell Station in Mandeville, right off the causeway by that Acquista Pace Grocery in Mandeville. Gallagher's 527. Not to use a radio cliche, but clearly worth the drive from just about anywhere. I'd come from the West Bank. I'd come from anywhere. It's that good. It's one of the best dining experiences you'll ever have. And I promise you this. If you go to Gallagher's, you'll be like me. You'll be going like every 2 or 3 weeks, even though you live on the South Shore. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Just so damn good. So good. Wide Open Wednesday. Corey Johnson with you. We just visited with Steve Nelson with the Sewerage and Water Board. About a month away for frequency changer number 1 to be fully operational at the new power substation. Siemens of Germany there tweaking it, testing it. General Electric trying to get turbine 5 going so they can get a few more megawatts of power. But apparently have more than the 44 megawatts needed to run all those 25 hertz pumps. Smitty Supply, that explosion and fire. You know, two things I'm concerned with: the toxic mess that, you know, was thrown, strewn, whatever, all over Roseland and the surrounding area in Tangipahoa Parish. You know, when the EPA's like, no detectable toxins, what was their quote? No detectable levels of hazardous substances. I mean, it's just like DEQ, EPA, enough. It's a friggin' petroleum, you know, I don't want to say tank farm, but a mini tank farm, those tall linear ones, millions of gallons of petroleum products mixing and going up in flames. The black smoke was so thick. And then when people were talking, it started raining and it was black rain coming down. Their white dogs black, their white cars black, you know, petroleum products all over vegetation, you know, livestock, just crazy. Their houses. It's just not good. So, no, I don't trust the federal EPA anymore, and I never have trusted Louisiana's Department of Environmental Quality. I remember when Buddy Roemer was governor nearly 40 years ago and just exposed how much of a joke it is. And today, the oil and gas and chemical industry totally in bed with Louisiana's Department of Environmental Quality. I was talking earlier in the show about a couple of talk show hosts in town. One works for John Fleming, the state treasurer, and praises Fleming on his show and bashes the competition. And another one works for Sheriff Susan Hudson and praises Susan Hudson and bashes the competition. Just not fair and objective. A major conflict of interest. Not legitimate players at this game when they do that. The Department of Environmental Quality in bed with the oil and gas and chemical industry. Some say the oil and gas and chemical industry, they dictate policy. They're DEQ. DEQ follows their lead. Just a slight conflict of interest. The Department of Environmental Quality in Louisiana shouldn't be going to hunting and fishing camps with oil and gas and chemical people, taking them to restaurants in Baton Rouge. They shouldn't be doing that. No, so I very much worry about, and I don't live in Roseland. I'm worried about those folks because they're Louisiana folks. They're Americans. They're part of Metro New Orleans, essentially, right outside Metro New Orleans. Now, I'm concerned about their health. So that's a major concern. There's a great lady online, great husband, great family. You can just tell, great people. They have a child that, you know, has medical needs. And she was posting something on Twitter. I was like, get your beautiful kid and your family and get out of there. Go stay in New Orleans for a night or two at a hotel. Go to Baton Rouge a night or two in a hotel. Just not safe. And I'm not talking about explosion and some shrapnel hitting you. I'm talking about the air, the stuff that's floating down on you in the water. I mean, Tangipahoa River's like got a bunch of berms floating, you know, trying to trap the oil, the petroleum products. It's polluted. Fish kills, the whole 9 yards. It's a nightmare. That's part one. Part two, 450 employees. I was blown away by that. I mean, I figured they're like 45, 100 employees, 150 employees. That would have shocked me. 450. I mean, Smitty Supply, a major employer in Tangipahoa. Michael Heck joins us every Friday from Greater New Orleans, Inc. He comes on the program and talks about so-and-so's coming to Tangipahoa Parish, Hammond, New Orleans, Metairie, North Shore, West Bank, New Orleans East, and they're bringing 450 jobs. I'd say that's a home run. What a coup. Great work, Michael. 450 jobs. Amazing. No, I didn't realize Smitty Supply was that big, but that's harsh. Nearly all 450 employees laid off because there is no Smitty Supply. It was leveled. Now, if they're like committed to coming back full bore, It's going to be multiple phases. They might open a few tanks and they might hire 50 people, but it might be years before they're at full capacity again with 450 employees. Might be years. What a sad story. This 12-year-old Brian Vasquez, the nonverbal kid out in New Orleans East, autistic, snuck out of the house about 12 days ago. The Cajun Navy found him a couple of days ago with the drone floating in a canal, dead. 12 days. Then we hear blunt force trauma involved. And then we find out from the coroner it was an alligator. An alligator. Now, you have no idea how that went down. If that kid was just by the canal, saw the alligator, went and approached it, thought he could pet the alligator, and the alligator just attacked him and dragged him in the water. If the kid was just sitting by the canal and the alligator snuck up on him, I have no idea. But that's part of the problem, too. I mean, just the family thinking about all these scenarios. It's sickening. But 12-year-old Brian Vasquez, who snuck out of the house 12 days ago, apparently killed by an alligator right behind his house by a canal. Sad. We broke the story here. Fletcher and Travers Mackel broke it as well. LIV Golf, the Saudis, Governor Jeff Landry, a big press conference earlier today. It's official today, although it's been official for a few months. We broke the story. Then we broke another story. Like if you go to the LIV Golf website, they've got the 2025 calendar released, and the New Orleans tour stopped June 26th to 28th on it. The weekend before the 4th of July, late June 2026, about 10 months away, LIV Golf New Orleans. They've got 4 American-based tour stops. One of them will be at City Park South in New Orleans, and they're doing it in June in the sweltering heat. Now, it is a shotgun start. It's team play. So they knock out the day in about 4 or 5 hours tops. So they could go early morning. They could go later in the evening. They can play it whenever they want. It's only 54 holes, 3 rounds. But June in New Orleans is like right now, August, sweltering. No different from, late June to where we are right now in mid to late July. Same weather. Harsh, hot, 90s, could feel like 100 plus. Could be sunny and just totally brutal. Anyway, I'm not a fan of the Saudis. I'm not a fan of LIV Golf, but I'm a fan of New Orleans, and I'm a fan of golf, and I'm a fan of City Park. So I'll take the LIV Golf. The state's going to invest about $2.5 million into City Park, improving the driving range, practice facilities, maybe a little bubble for locker rooms for the players, and then a little bit of money going into the course. I'd like to see a lot of money going into the course. Hopefully LIV likes it, and they'll put some money into the course. But the state's giving LIV, the Saudis, $5 million like as a sponsor to come. Sponsorship fee. The economic impact, Cameron Henry says $60 million. I don't see that. But I think it'll be more than the $5 million the state gives. I think it could be 15, 20, maybe $30 million economic impact. But I just like the fact LIV Golf is slowly growing, not much, but it's I don't want to say it's viable, but it's got an audience and it's international. So putting New Orleans on that map for 3 days, I'll take that.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Word is, one of the best restaurants in New Orleans isn't even in New Orleans. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville. Cross the lake and taste what you're missing. Tuesday through Saturday. Gallagher's 527 in Mandeville.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-JC.com, your cool spot. TM-JC.com, your cool spot.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Hey, it's steak night at Katie's in Mid-City tonight. You ready for this? Steak night at Katie's is maybe the best food deal anywhere. You get a salad to start. You get, what is the appetizer they serve with it? Man, I'm going blank. You get a filet with some Katie's potatoes on the side. You get bread pudding for dessert. And you get a cocktail or a glass of wine, and it's $35. A nice big filet, the Katie's potatoes, appetizer, salad, bread pudding dessert, and a cocktail or a glass of wine. $35 steak night at Katie's. It is ridiculously successful. Like they're doing like 80, 100 plus steaks every Thursday night. Steaks are rolling out of the kitchen right now at Katie's because it's $35. I mean, I'd go in there and get a little Pinot. I got that salad to start. I get a great appetizer. I get a big filet. I get some potatoes and bread pudding dessert. $35. Steak night tonight at Katie's in Mid-City. Be there. That's one of the best food deals anywhere. That's why they're knocking out 100 plus steaks every Wednesday night the last few weeks in the slow summer. People love a bargain. Tough to beat Katie's in Mid-City. Scott Craig might join us on Friday. You never know. Fridays with Fletcher Mackle will. We'll talk about LIV Golf coming. Plus, Saturday morning at 11, Tulane kicks off their season. Saturday night at 6:30, LSU kicks off their season. The Saints with Spencer Rattler as the starting quarterback go at it in the Dome a week from Sunday against Arizona. So football season's here. For the college game, it'll be every week through Thanksgiving. And then a week or two later, a week later, championship games. And then a week or two later, bowl games for like 3 weeks straight. And the NFL, A week from Sunday. Well, actually, a week from Thursday, a week from tomorrow, the NFL starts. A week from tomorrow, and they'll have games every weekend all the way through the first week in February of next year. So football season's here. Yeah, you right. It's football country. We love it. Fridays with Fletch. We'll talk about that with Fletcher Mackle. Yeah, I was talking earlier just about Archbishop Gregory Amen and how this latest lawsuit alleges he helped conceal child sex abuse. I think that's a fact. I think Gregory Amen's a holy man. I think he's a good man. I think he, is part of the Archdiocese of New Orleans. And that the secrecy of the church in general, these Catholic archdioceses all around the country, and I'm a Catholic. New Orleans Catholic. The archdiocese is my archdiocese. Gregory Amen's my, archbishop. But I do think the church just they try to conceal this. We're going to handle it internally, and they justify that, even though it's a crime. Like, no, it should be reported to law enforcement. You're committing a crime by not turning this person in that works for you, even though he's a priest, into law enforcement. So that's been the MO of the Archdiocese of the Catholic Church for decades, if not hundreds of years, if not longer. No, just some sick stories, decades and decades, at least in New Orleans, and hundreds of victims. And just this systematic, just this system in place, swim parties and all this crap, just sickening. And then a lack of, it's like bringing in police. You look at the resume, you want to join the police academy? Are you qualified? No, you're not. You're not the type of person we're looking for. You want to be a priest? No, you're not. It's not everybody wants to be a priest. You get green, lighted in. It's like scrutinize the resume. No, you're not suited to be a priest. You have predator tendencies all over your resume. I don't know how it would work. But no, a new lawsuit alleges Archbishop Gregory Amen helped conceal child sex abuse, and I think that's true, without a doubt. And I think that's been going on before Gregory Amen, other archbishops, and sickening. So many victims. Now, I was just talking about that, and just even though I'm Catholic and the archdiocese is my archdiocese and this is my archbishop, I can pull myself outside the bubble and look at it fairly and objectively and say, I think they covered it up. And a lot of it is because I don't have a conflict of interest, even though it's my church and my archdiocese and my archbishop. I don't know Gregory Amen personally. I've met him before. I don't know him personally. I don't have his phone number. We don't talk. I don't befriend him. I don't befriend priests and brothers in the archdiocese in New Orleans. And that's across the board. I don't befriend the big shots. I don't befriend the politicians. That way I can fairly objectively do my job. And it blows me away. I knew there was one, but there's two talk radio show hosts in New Orleans, both on sort of fledgling AMs. And it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, just this way of thinking, because we're dealing with extremes. This Stevens guy works for like a hyper woke station, loony left. They claim to be like the black voice of New Orleans, this fledgling AM station, and bigoted stuff against white and, misogynistic stuff against women and anti-Semitic stuff against Jews. Just crazy. And getting away with it. But, small audience, not a lot of advertisers. They rely on a lot of public money. That's their MO. The Stevens guy, a talk show host, they were going to let him go. And Susan Hudson said, hey, I'll pay his sal. I'll put him on my team, even though he has no law enforcement expertise at all. I'll hire him at full-time salary. Just keep him on the radio station, which they did. And this guy, Stevens, gets Sheriff Hudson on the show and kisses her butt and praises her and promotes her and bashes her enemies in competition. It's pathetic, just no integrity. Then I find out from NOLA.com, because I don't listen to these shows, but Cruer, the opposite, not a loony left woke show, wacky right, evangelical, wacky right, hardcore extreme right, MAGA and beyond. The same as BOK, just ideology is the only thing different, but equally as extreme. He works for John Fleming, the state treasurer, making 6 figures a year. Has Fleming on the show and praises him and bashes the competition. It's called a conflict of interest. I get to come in front of this mic and camera. I don't have that conflict of interest. I avoid the big shots. I don't befriend them. I befriend Blue Boy because he's a good boy. Love you, Blue Boy. Down, buddy. See you tomorrow, Thursday, 4 o'clock. Be right
You're
here.
On the Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.